What a world we live in when a nation filled with millionaires and billionaires are completely surrounded with the vast majority of people unable to make ends meet. That's a complete evisceration of the middle class, and it's not coming back. You came here for the truth. Today, I want to talk about this displacement of the middle class in America. Let's begin. 78% of full-time workers said that they live paycheck to paycheck, and that's up from 75% last year. Think about this. You have this sample, and within that, the majority of people are unable to make ends meet. They're underwater. They're losing it. And 71% of all US workers said that they are now in debt. That's up from 68% a year ago. These people will continue to be in a worse situation. That's how debt works. It compounds. Some people might make their way out, but ultimately people have to dig themselves deeper down in an effort to get back up. And of course, it doesn't work like that. 46% said that their debt is manageable, and I would interject for a moment, the national debt, apparently, is manageable as well. 56% said that they were in over their heads, and I do believe that that is accurate. Look, people are getting themselves involved in all of the wrong things. They have spent all of their money, and in fact, right here, 56% also save $100 or less each month. All right. The lack of savings is a very big problem. The fact that people are not educated about where their money should be is another problem. We don't learn it in school. Nobody ever teaches the money GPS in school, unfortunately. But the people basically spend their money frivolously. But I would also say that individuals are more indebted because of the school debt that they have, student debt. That's one problem. They come out of school, they have a lot of debt, they have to pay it back. What do? They get a job. It's not paying as well as it should have if they can get a job. And of course, they take on 2 and 3 jobs if they can get them. They're not quality jobs, but something has to pay the bills. And of course, all of this leads to more and more hardship. People are literally unable to make ends meet. That should be considered under the poverty line, but the way they skew this system doesn't appear that way. Let's take a look at the next article. It's a survey here highlighting a troubling trend in household finances. More than 8 years since the end of the recession, the share of Americans who are living on the financial edge is growing. And some may want to blame the America's spendthrift ways, which is true, no doubt. This individual pointed to 2 trends that continue to put financial stress on households. It's something that I talked about, financial wages and the rising cost of everything from education to consumer goods. That is a very serious issue. People aren't being paid what they need to be able to afford the things that they need. Of course, they're buying iPhones and they're buying iPads and whatever, but they're not making the amount of money that they would have been if this was 10, 20 years ago relative to what things cost. And that's what's happening. You're seeing a chasm forming in between these 2 things. It's a very real threat to people because they're underwater, the debt is getting worse, and ultimately must compound. That's the way it works. You can't get out of it. The majority of people simply can't get out of it. And of course, he talks about basically how it's trending across the board. 75%, once again, a year ago, 75% and now 78% living paycheck to paycheck. With the BLS reporting about 122 million full-time workers, the poll suggests that 95 million could be living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I just wanted to say that that was just a sample, of course. Maybe the number is lower for sure. Wouldn't surprise me. But just think about that. However you want to, whatever number you want to use. Even we'll say 50 million, okay? 50 million people is a very serious number. And it just goes to show how well they can cover things up. They do a great job at that. I give them that. I'm just going to touch on this very, very briefly because I actually want to do a video about this, just on my opinion about it. The Powerball lottery came out $758.7 million. One winner. Amazing. This person has won an extremely large amount of money that even after taxes, they're going to win a lot of money. Now, what they said was basically this person came out publicly instead of creating, I think it was a trust or something like that. What they said in here to basically block their entity from appearing to the public because the winners are public. And the person came public. Now they have to deal with all of the basically extra scrutiny. They're going to be asked to pull their money this way and that way and protect their money here, get a lawyer, get an accountant, get a this and that wealth planner. And what they actually said was in this article, this person needs to have their money managed. They can't do it on their own, so they need to manage their money. And that's something that I tell people the exact opposite. Manage your own money, take care of yourself, but just get that education first. That was basically the reason I wrote my books. In particular, my first book, but also the second book, is basically to say, you don't need them. We can do this on our own. So I'll do another video about that. I just wanted to touch on it very quickly. That's a lot of money. Amazon said it's going to cut prices on a range of popular goods as it completes the acquisition of Whole Foods. So basically, literally, as soon as it goes through officially, they're going to cut prices right away. Not on everything across the board, but they said they're going to cut it on some very typical things that people buy, like bananas and everything else. So it's good news for the shoppers there because Whole Foods is definitely has that reputation of whole paycheck. So it's a good thing there. I think that as a result, we'll see continued declines in a lot of these stores where their products are being sold from the Whole Foods shelf being sold at Amazon, and also the Amazon products, like they have the Amazon lockers there and such, which will be moving into the Whole Foods stores as well. So basically the two businesses are merging to some degree, and they've haven't even begun yet. And I think this is big, bad news for a lot of other retailers. So this Amazon is becoming a giant, an absolute giant, and it will continue. I think that it's going to displace a lot of other businesses. Forget about the mom and pop shops. Those are gone. And I just wanted to close off with this very quickly. The U.S. Fed funds rate versus the U.S. Financial Conditions Index. So the conditions index is the green line. And you can see that since 2015 has headed downward as the federal funds rate, good old Fed, has been rising. Slowly, steadily rising. If it continues, I think things will get a lot worse. But at the same time, I am a proponent of higher interest rates. I want that to happen. I want the economy to come down for a while. I want the stock market to come down for a while. I want all of these assets to start declining. Even if that means that there is a recession and people have to lose their jobs and everything else, that is bad in a way, but we need to restore sanity. This is just, it's blowing bubbles that are going to hurt people a lot worse. The bigger the bubble gets, the worse and dramatic the fall will be. It's very bad. So if we just do it and get it over with now, things will be much better in the end. But of course that's not going to happen, and we'll see what happens in the medium term. That's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up. And last but not least, if you found the video informative, I know you'll find my books, The Money GPS, and my new release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. So you can flip through these books at Amazon. They have basically a look inside feature. It's going to allow you to flip through the pages of these books to see if you like them. Take care.